Congratulations, you've made it to chapter 23 of SDM4. This chapter could have actually come a little before chapter 22 because it's a little bit simpler to some extent, but it builds on all the infrastructure you did in 2022, which is nice because that was a very long chapter. Imagine a situation where you have paired samples, and there's an example here where you have inner lane and outer lane racers for speed skating. In this situation, those pairs actually mean you really have only one set of data because they are paired, and we could be looking at the differences. And in a nutshell, that's what's going on in this chapter. Pairing isn't the problem, as they say, it's an opportunity. And in this case, we can be thinking about a situation where a paired t-test, which is just a one sample t-test, what we've seen previously, will be eminently workable and quite efficient. So the assumptions and conditions are laid out in the same kind of way as before. We're going to be making the normal population assumption, invoking the central limit theorem. We need to look at those, the distribution. It's very hard to see for those, that histogram, that it's not unreasonably normal there. I'm not going to argue with the authors about that. You can actually conduct the test and do a think, show, tell in this situation, and think about the same ways that we might actually go ahead and calculate confidence intervals, again, using just the one sample t procedure. So effect size, also something important to be reporting, is described here. And then the idea of blocking. And for blocking, it's a slightly different aspect of things, where we have kind of these different types of things that are brought forward, and it really describes different approaches to kind of account for the blocking in our analysis. Sign test, very cool non-parametric procedure. You're not responsible for it. And again, what can go wrong? You really don't want to use a two-sample t-test when you have paired data. Kind of thinking about the learning outcomes for this, it's really pretty much a review of what we've seen before. In R, there's some nice examples to replicate the data. We can actually see we calculate these differences using the mutate function. We can calculate a histogram of those differences. They're pretty darn uniform. Here, there's not so many of them. There's only 10 observations. It's hard to see it, but we actually go ahead and replicate the analyses. And we can do the same things in terms of the blocking using the sign test, but as I said, you're not responsible for that.